Last month, though, the federal government announced that exports of Canadian oil and gas can be escalated by 300,000 barrels a day by the end of the year to help reduce Europe's dependence on Russian oil. And last week, the federal government approved the Bay du Nord offshore oil drilling project, which, according to the project's company, Equinor, will eventually produce an estimated 300 million barrels of oil over its lifetime. But this is also the government that wants Canada's oil and gas sector to cut its emissions by 42% by 2030. And on the day that the government reiterated its budget measure to invest more in electric vehicle infrastructure, has Canada figured out how to produce more oil and ship it to Europe and cut down on emissions? Let's bring in the Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson on that. Always good to have you, sir. Just get this straight, because the energy crisis, the geopolitics are interesting. How quickly and how can Canada ship these extra 200,000 or 300,000 barrels of oil a day to places like Europe?
Well, we've said we've obviously worked with industry, with the pipeline companies, with the provinces to come up with that figure. And we have said that by the end of the year, we believe we will be able to provide about 300,000 barrels of oil and oil equivalent to help to stabilize energy prices and to help to provide alternative sources for the Europeans. As you know, our pipelines go north-south, so we had to work with the Americans to ensure they had appropriate takeaway capacity, which they have provided, and so we will be in that position by the end of the year.
Okay, so by the end of the year, 300,000 barrels a day. As you say, they go to the refineries down south, and then how much of that goes to the U.S. or how much of that goes to Europe?
Well, the focus is on essentially providing more supply into the market, such that there is an ability for Europe to source some of that. But it's also just about stabilizing energy prices and enabling us to bring down and to stabilize those pricing. So I can't tell you exactly how much is going to Europe and how much may end up in the United States, which, as you know, has banned Russian oil and gas. But what I can tell you is those 300,000 barrels are going to be displacing Russian oil in jurisdictions around the world.
Okay, so, and what else? What is the plan to displace Russian oil? Like, you've got the UK's talking about building 7 to 8 nuclear plants. Your government has now got the $12 billion project by Norway's Equinor, the Bay du Nord. That will, over the lifetime, have 300 million barrels of oil a day from the deep sea. Environmentalists, as you know, are furious about that, saying this mad dash to get fossil fuels, 300,000 barrels a day more to displace Russian oil, Bay du Nord, essentially undercuts the very announcement that you're making today. Hey, let's all switch to EVs, but at the same time crank up the fossil fuels. How do you square the circle there?
Well, I would say, Evan, on the one hand, you have folks who say, don't do anything to help Europe in its time of need because we're concerned about the impacts with respect to climate. And then there are others who say, ramp up production and don't worry about the emissions because energy security is so important that we have to forget about the climate issue. I would say neither of those is a particularly thoughtful position. You have to be able to think about doing both. Climate change hasn't gone away, but of course we're going to try to help our friends and allies in Europe who are worried about delivering groceries to their grocery stores and heat their homes. And so what we have done with the 300,000 barrels is brought forward production that was already baked into the climate plan. The emissions associated with the production of those was already baked into the climate plan. We brought those forward to ensure that we are trying to help our European friends. We are looking at other options to be able to do that on a go-forward basis. And look, with respect to Bay du Nord, I mean, we are going through a transition over the next 30 years. And folks, like, it needs to be understood that even in 2050, in a net zero scenario, they're still going to have need for oil and gas of a lower level for non-burning applications like petrochemicals, where we make plastics, like waxes, like lubricants. And so I think people need to just take a step back and be thoughtful about this. Bay du Nord will be one of the lowest emission projects in the world in an environment where low carbon barrels are going to have significant value going forward. It will fit within our cap. It will be net zero by 2050. This is the kind of oil that we actually will need as we move towards 2050.
Right. You and I know that yes, it's 8 kilograms a barrel to extract from Bay du Nord, which is, half of what the average is, and sometimes 9-10 times less than, let's say, other projects in the oil sands. But once you burn it, if you burn it, you don't use it for other things, it kind of comes out even. So can you just, I have one more question, but you said something that I just want to drill down on. You said we baked into the plan this extra 300,000 barrels a day. How did you possibly bake that into an emissions plan when the situation is only less than 50 days old in Ukraine? How did the emissions reduction plan bake in Canada shipping another 300,000 barrels a day? How did that happen?
Well, we used production forecasts from the Canadian Energy Regulator, which showed additional production coming on stream over the next few years. I mean, any of the forecasts for oil demand around the world, including, the 1.5 degree scenarios that look out to 2050, show that demand for oil is going to be relatively flat to 2030. It doesn't go down until after 2030 when you see broad enough deployment of zero-emission vehicles to essentially reduce the amount of oil that we're using. So it is fully incorporated into the plan.